So I think that probably Bolan and Ronson probably were experimenting together with different amps, different guitars. But in particular, when you think of tracks like Rebel Rebel, Gene Genie, there's some wonderful guitar playing, and it's quite subliminal. It's not as flashy as, say, Jimmy Page, who was Next River and really, he liked you to know all about it. Mick Ronson was much more understated. But Mick Ronson, what I like about his playing the most is that he was providing hooks in most David Bowie songs of that period. His guitar parts he'd always come up with a little hook that would become integral to the song, and without that hook, maybe the song wouldn't have really been so successful. So that's what I like the most about his playing.
I think John I'm Only Dancing was recorded while we were in the middle of an American tour. So I think it was done in RCA Studios in New York.
John I'm Only Dancing was again one of those strange songs that was very homoerotic in the way the tone it presented itself.
It was a strange song that didn't really follow the normal patterns of rock songs, I guess. It had little twisty bits in it. We were never common.
The essence of the song is the wonderfully inventive bass playing from Trevor Bolder, which is very upbeat and gives the song its life. On the introduction is where you can hear it particularly clearly. It's a wonderful creation.
This is the line from the middle of John I'm Only Dancing, which is a lot of people like, a lot of bass players think it's a very good bass line.
That was the first time I think I'd ever overdubbed drums. So I played a really straight, heavy rock beat, and then the tom fills, I overdubbed them all just to get as much power that I could possibly get into the toms. It was like, forget about the feet, forget about anything else, just hit those toms as hard as you can possibly hit them. And it worked.
Of course, the record was accompanied by the Mick Rock film, which arguably was the first, if not one of the first, known pop promos.
It was shot in about half a day.
What was it?
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, it was very low-key equipment-wise. It was just shot, basically, you know. But it did have a good feel about it, which is what communicated, you know.
John I'm Only Dancing is another wonderful promotional film from Mick Rock. It was shot during rehearsals at the Rainbow Theatre for a stage performance. And again, using very little other than some well thought out and well art directed footage, it produces a promotional film that certainly holds its head up against anything that's being done today.
The screaming guitar in the chorus obviously is very, very characteristic, and the great guitar part at the end with the Pete Townsend trick with the on-off switch on the guitar is absolutely great.
On the surface, the circus seems bizarre. Yet his backing group are professional musicians. They're Yorkshire lads with down-to-earth accents whose appearance merely seems to be moulded to fit into the Bowie image.
Well, the lovely Trevor Bolder, him of the long sideboards that go down nearly as long as his legs, I don't think you can possibly overestimate how important he was to the early albums of Bowie.
Trevor Bolder was a bassist who understood where he should be. He was aggressive, he was heavy, but he fitted in well with the Spiders from Mars because it was quite a heavy band. And Trevor's always had this ability to slide into situations and enhance music without overdoing it. He's not elaborate, although I'm sure he's more than capable of being elaborate.
Long before I knew the man, his bass playing had made a great impact on me. You listen to songs like John, I'm Only Dancing, which I've already mentioned. To me, the hook is the bass part in the chorus. 5 Years, fantastic bass playing. Moon Age Daydream, absolutely a tremendous bass player.
He was like the musical glue in the band, so he basically held everything together. When Ronson would be sort of going off on a very big solo, and there might be sort of Woody would be sort of playing sort of lots of drum fills and busy parts. It'd be Bolder who would be sort of holding everything down. He was like the kind of the rock, the anchor within the band.
A great riff player. The playing on the song Ziggy Stardust is absolutely fantastic. He had character and humour. He was a melodic bass player, and I would place him equally alongside Andy Fraser as the two great British melodic rock bass players of all time.
He was a very firm, very sharp, very focused bassist who locked the sound down, and when necessary could go with the flights of fantasy and fancy. And of course he also played trumpet, which didn't do him any harm at all with Bowie.
In addition to his great bass playing, of course, were his frequent interludes on trumpet. I think on Kooks, one can't really forget the wonderful Herb Alpert style trumpet that he plays. I think he's solid as a rock.
Trevor Bolder's sideburns were ludicrous, frankly ridiculous, but he's never been a man of great image. It has to be said, he never had glamour. He comes from Hull, what can you say?
In later years, I've had the pleasure of working with Trevor with Uriah Heep, and that same quirkiness, that same attention to melodic detail. He would never just play, he will play bone simply if need be, but he will always think of a great riff, of something that's, yeah, that'll do, but this is better. He will always strive to find something that's totally original and totally him.
Yeah, and the road up.
He and Woody Woodmansey formed one of the best rhythm sections in the whole history of rock. They're underrated because everyone remembers Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars for Mick Ronson, rightly for Mick Ronson, and also obviously for Bowie.
Woody, like Trevor, is one of the great underrated British rock musicians. A great drummer who could cope quite easily with all the intricate time signature and tempo changes that strongly featured in all of Bowie's material.
Woody Woodmansey is one of the greatest drummers of all time. I've never understood why he's never got the credit, but that may well be because he was with Bowie in the Spiders from Mars and he was seen as a sideman. He deserves more credit than he gets, and I've always felt it's a little unfair that people don't realise his dexterity, his power, his drive actually played such an important part in the whole Spiders from Mars sound.
And yet he could be so simple. You'd listen to him and you would think, well, this is not a jazz player along the lines of a Bill Bruford or something, yet he was quite capable of handling any of that style of music. And he made some great performances. 5 years was a fantastic accomplishment for him. Life on Mars, again, was absolutely great. He could be absolutely rock solid, and he would swing like the best of them.
He went on to do Woody Woodmansey's U-Boat, which is a really good band in its own right. But somehow he's always got locked into the Spiders from Mars era, and I'm sure he's still working these days as a session musician and doing very